Hey everybody, it's Bob Phibbs, the retail doc. I'm glad you've joined me. I don't know why I'm talking that way. It's the last Sunday in February, and you are live with Bob Phibbs, the retail doc, and I'm glad you're here. So do me a favor and type in where you're joining me from, because ultimately we have people all over the world. We have people on LinkedIn, I've got people on Facebook, and I have people on YouTube. And if you're just casually finding me, well, I would encourage you to subscribe to the channel. So if you're on YouTube, subscribe. And you're watching me on Facebook, I want you to click the bell so you know when I'm live as well. And if you're on LinkedIn, I don't know what to tell you if you're on LinkedIn, because I don't think there's any way to really know about that. Good morning, Rochelle. Good morning, Tristan. Showing up as Tristan today instead of as your business name. Crazy, wild. Hey, it is that last Sunday in February, and I'm glad you've joined me. You know, I thought I would share. Hey, Katie, glad you're here this morning. I thought I would share the second part of my delivery story. Do you remember a couple weeks ago I told you about how I had ordered dinner from a restaurant not far from me, and it didn't arrive, and I kept wondering, where is it, after an hour? And then just happened to go downstairs to pick up the mail, and there was the dinner that had just been left in 0 degrees with no note, no nothing, and how frustrated I was. Well, I went down, I ordered another dinner last night, but I didn't have it delivered. I said, I'll just do it myself. So I go down and I tell them, I said, oh, is that mine? And they're like, yes. And I said, it hasn't been waiting there a long time, has it? And she goes, no, we just bought it. I said, great. And I hand her my credit card and she goes, no, that's it. And I go, what? And she goes, no, you're done. And I looked over at the bartender guy that I'd known, and I just was like, oh, great. Now, I'm sure in their mind, they're like, oh, we did everything possible. But wouldn't you have thought that, like, oh, so you're buying my dinner? That's great. Wouldn't you have thought it'd be like, oh, we were so sorry about the last time. Dinner's on us. Or, oh, thanks so much. We wanted to make sure that we made it up to you. Or something that was just on top of like, oh, we realized we screwed up. But no, you're done. So what made me think of this is how many times retailers and businesses go through and you just don't think about what the follow-up is, right? Something goes right or wrong, and you don't really think, well, what would it be like to be a customer, to be on the other side of this? Is there an apology? What are we writing when we have that auto the workflow enabled? What is somebody actually texting? And so I would encourage you to be thinking today, this week, about what happens in your follow-ups. How do you do it, and why do we do it? And then what's the appropriate thing to say to somebody? And again, it doesn't always have to be something went bad. Somebody was asking me a question recently. Well, how can we stand out with curbside delivery or after the fact? And you know what? Just a simple follow-up that's personal, right? So it says, hey, Jane, I know you bought the gift for your mom. Just want to know, what was her reaction when you gave it to her? Could be that. Some people have high ticket items, could be a product or a service. Call up and know how you're going to connect with them. You don't say like, hey, how did that go? Do something specific about why they bought it or the project they had. And then you're just adding value, and don't say like, so buy more stuff from us. It's just a check-in. That's kind of it. And if you really want to go crazy this week, I encourage you to use a company like Vidyard or BombBomb. And I'm not I don't get paid for them, but there are online video services you could do. Just a quick video on your phone and just video yourself telling a vendor how much you appreciate them. Try that once this week and just see the reaction you get. It has nothing to do with you screwed up or anything else, just you appreciate them, something specific you appreciate about them, and that you're glad to be partners with them. Trust me, I just did this week, and they were blown away. In fact, one vendor actually had tears in her eyes. Nobody has said those things to them. And now's a perfect time because you have the time in February. So fair enough. There you go. Boy, there's a lot of you online this morning. Thanks for joining me. And by the way, you can always go crazy and give me love. You can always go crazy and give me a thumbs up. And you can just type in yes if you agree with what I say, because it's all about finding ways for people to take action. That's really important when you're doing live videos, which I've been doing this now for 4 years, every Sunday morning. And I see so many of you. Oh, Tiara, we have to just highlight that. Tara, I'm so glad that I found you. Look at you. You're the best. Thanks so much for joining in. I appreciate that. Oh, and I'm not even sure how to say your name, but it's afternoon here in Helsinki. Benga? Is that it? The G is silent? I'm not quite sure. I think that's fine. And good morning, Lisa, all the way in Conyers, Georgia. I appreciate all of you who have found me because I'm just on a mission to say that we could change the world by the people working in shopping and retail, and that's work. Now, recently this week I was talking to a guy who was going on and telling me how he couldn't make any changes in his business. And this is kind of my first question. I wasn't quite sure how to phrase it, but we have no time. I have no staff. Business is great. And, you're just underwater. And it reminded me when I was learning how to water ski at the ripe old age of 40. I got up the first time and it was so exhilarating. I was like, yeah, let's do this again. I must have done it another 20 times where I was pretty much under the water being dragged through Lake Arrowhead. And that little voice suddenly hits you and says, hey, you can control this. You can let go of the rope. And then you're like, oh, great. And that realization is never lost on me, that it's all in your power. And I think so many people these days are telling me, oh, I don't have the power. I've got a time crunch. I'm so jammed. I can't think. I can't move. No more. It's just harder and harder. It's great when you're that busy, but you know what? You can let go of the rope. It's in your power. No time doesn't scale unless you're just looking to tell yourself how awful it is to be you. You don't have a time problem. You have a decision problem. Until you decide to change, it doesn't matter how much business you've got until you decide to raise your prices to afford more employees, until you get serious about hiring more people, until you fundamentally decide to get off the hamster wheel. You just know what you know, and that doesn't scale. Life just gets harder and harder. So that's my message for you today. I'm actually crafting a challenge that we're going to be doing next in April. It's going to be 5 days. It's going to end with another online event. But I'm really looking at this because so many people are telling me they've had the best business they've had in years and how great it is. And I'm telling you that we are in for the roaring 20s. I think that the pent-up demand, the money that we're just going to print and shower on people to get them to buy is great. And the desire to go out and go on vacation, et cetera, is going to propel us like it's never been for the next year and a half too. And I don't care where that is. It's going to pretty much be around the world. But after that, there's going to be a hangover that the people who didn't build their business and didn't take advantage of that tailwind and didn't find a new way to do it and connect with their customers, they're really going to be in a bad place. But I encourage you to be understanding that you don't have a time problem. You have a decision problem. Can I get an amen on that? Can I get a yes, you're right? Can I get a yes, I know what you mean? Can I get somebody to join in and understand that, yes, this is exactly what happened with me? You know what you know, and that doesn't scale. That's it. Until you're willing to change something, until you're willing to do something different, well, I think you're just destined to be that person. So give me a thumbs up if that's true. Is that true? I got an amen, Justin. Thank you for that. Donna, exactly. You've all been there probably. Those of you who know me, you know that these aren't exactly new concepts, but retail is a job of being brilliant on the basics. And I appreciate those of you on LinkedIn who are joining me as well, because a lot of you are C-level execs. And a lot of times you're so caught up in your silo that, all you hear is no one's coming into the stores. We have to have more digital, and yet digital capabilities are fine. But at the core of it, retail is a game of being brilliant on the basics. So there you go. I have a few questions here this morning, not a lot. So I will do as much as I can get with you. And Holly, I need to change my mindset. That's it. In fact, when your friends tell you, Joe, hell yeah. So great shirt. Thank you, John. It's the important things, John. John's a fellow Yankees lover. And thanks for that, John. I don't know why I said that, but just random bits of information I throw at you, which is why you join me. But yeah, it is a matter of understanding being brilliant on the basics. I do it every day. I have an executive assistant, and she has to go through, and we have to do brainstorming where I say, here's the thing I want to do. here's why I need to do this, and then unpacking what are the steps I need to do. Because if I don't do that, then the thing I want to do is like, oh, that's too overwhelming. I can't do it. And now she has to put that into my calendar. And then I have to actually have office hours where she has control over saying, this is what you're working on. If that's what I need to work, then that's what I need to work. Maybe that's what you need as well. But make no mistake, nothing changes until you change the way you look at your life and the way you look at your business and the way you look at it. And you know what? You can let go of the rope and do something different today. It's all in your power. Because I can tell you, it's a lot more fun being up and water skiing when you've actually taken the steps to do that. So, yeah, again, you have a few questions for me, but not a lot. So this will probably be fairly quick. When updating a website, what are the first most important touches for a customer? Well, the most important thing is to don't do it because it's cheap and your brothers, cousins, friends, girlfriends, boyfriends, husband, son, nephew, who just was a whiz at it in high school, can do it for nothing. You start off with, what do I need to do? And most of you need to add video into your websites. Most of you need to add in messaging ability direct from your website, and you got to make it easy for me to understand, what do you want me to do? So many of us still have the same website we had up from COVID with this giant banner, we're open and you need to wear a mask and be sanitized. And somebody said they're still doing temperature scans on people. I would never do that to a customer. You're not a doctor's office, but you haven't updated everything and you think that that's it. You've kind of missed that the reason I got to your site is I want to buy something or know something. And unless you answer that pretty quickly, I'm going to click away. And so that's the most important thing, is to understand, what does a customer who comes to you want to know immediately? And then how can they find it? And then what do you want them to do? I start from there, and then you're going to have to go out and say, well, what are the services I need to pay for someone to do it? And while you can do it, one thing I learned an awful long time ago is that I would go through and learn things myself, which is what I'm doing here with learning, when I learn how to do this, that's great. But make no mistake, I don't have to go through and do it. Once I've understood it, I can understand what I want to hire someone to do. So understanding what scales for you and what doesn't is important. And please don't brag to me about how you don't have employees. That is not a mark of or you don't have enough employees. That's not a mark of a great manager or owner. A great manager or owner is saying, I'm always hiring, I'm finding ways to add value and add employees and keep them engaged and not have high turnover. That's not a good thing to be saying. So there you go. Cheryl, you get what you pay for with web development. Boy, if that isn't true. Is now the time to expand if I have the capital to do so? That's a great question. It's not a capital issue. It's like, are there enough people in your market to support you in a way that's going to make money? Now, there are no certainties in the future, but I had a woman last year, and I think it was January, and she had told me how she had moved from the downtown area where the rent was really high to 20 miles away where she got a steal of a deal, and none of her customers followed her. And I was like, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. She was so upset, like, well, how would I have known that? It's like, well, you think before you do something like that, because yeah, you're going to pay more where there are people. And make no mistake, we are hearing over and over that local is going to be where people are for a long time, that a lot of people are just going to stay within their little hamlets. They're not willing to drive 20 or 30 miles away to get something when a lot of things can be delivered. So if you have that market, you're not going to make stupid decisions based on that. You're going to instead say, well, where are more people like them? And there are a lot of services out right now that you can do that. So I just say, you don't leap and then decide. Was that a smart decision? You do as many checks on it as you possibly can, right? So if it's a new development, you're looking at what the egress and ingress is. Basically, what does it take for someone? What's the friction for someone to get into that center? I've had people sign leases where basically the most people have to come in and make a U-turn at a light and then kind of find their way around. Yeah, that's just stupid. You're just adding building blocks into your way to get people to buy from you. But as long as you're making those informed decisions, then I think when you make that decision and you have a plan and you understand you don't want to be more than 15 or 20 minutes away from a store. Why? Because invariably when someone doesn't show up, you've got to make it easy for someone else to drive to that store and do it. But fundamentally, is there a compelling reason for enough people to come to that store and give you the profit you need to live the life you want? Just opening another store is often an ego issue, not a business decision. Oh, Rochelle, I moved my business across the street and increased it 40%. Yeah, I love that. That's great. I love that. Sherry, the single biggest change Sales Rex has given us is the concept of changing our minds and being open-minded. I love that, Sherry. Shameless plug for my online retail sales training, salesrx.com. We just did a whole new site. So if you've seen SalesRx, you should definitely go to salesrx.com. See, we've got all of our testimonial videos up there. You got icons. You can see exactly what's in it. And I've got a 6-minute video explaining exactly what SalesRx is. How do I know when I'm ready to add a... Oh, I just said that. Oh, I have these inverted. Sorry, I skipped your first one. Is it wise to withdraw from a full-time salary job and focus on my own business in 2021? This sounds like it came from a franchisee. You know, I used to be the CMO of a startup franchise. We took it from startup to 130 locations before I was like, I cannot be retail doc and this at the same time, and I left. And it was a frequent thing that people buy a franchise saying, well, I'll keep my day job and then I'll also buy a franchise and someone else will run it. And invariably then they get into trouble telling me, oh, it's not making money. And what do I need? I just need more, you know, discount coupons, or I just need a delivery service, or and all these ideas. And I said, well, who's running the show? Oh, well, my daughter. It's like, well, did she go through the franchise training? No. Or my son. Oh, did he go through the franchise? Well, no, he came back from college. It's like, well, there's no captain at the helm of this ship. So either decide to go back and talk to your franchisor and get somebody trained in the system, or if you think you should do it, then yeah, I'm a big believer in believing that if it's your money, there's no one that's going to protect it and be more invested than you. So and then thinking that you don't need a manager is such hubris in this day and age. Like, oh, I'll just hire kids and they'll be able to run the store. And I'm 63, I can say kids, but hiring someone who has no passion for it and it's just a job is not nearly the same as an entrepreneur who opens a business and does it. So there you go. Ego issue, exactly. Hey, good morning from evening from India, Manoj. I appreciate you joining me. And if I get some love, give me some thumbs up. Let me know if this is important to you. If you like what I have to say, then give me some thumbs up. Give me some comments, because the algorithms only show it to people who do. Everybody says online is a way to go to sell our product. However, will this affect the sale of our bulky products like furniture? That's very interesting, because a year ago everybody said Wayfair was a waste of time and they'd never be able to sell furniture online, and what a waste, et cetera, until of course Wayfair was there when the pandemic hit and people decided they could buy chairs and sofas and have them delivered. I don't know what the returns looks like on situations like that, but I would say no matter what you sell, no matter how you sell it, to have the hubris again of saying, oh, no one will buy this online is kind of silly. I had that hubris, I guess 10 years ago, when I was saying no one will buy training online and it can't be as good as me in person. And then, eventually I lost that, thank goodness for me, because about 8 years ago, I developed SalesRx, took 2 years, over 100 grand, and took everything that I teach in person and made it into actionable steps online. And I'm so glad I did, because that actually let my business continue during the shutdown. So many times I was flying 140,000 miles a year until the day that I wasn't. And then a lot of my speaker buddies are trying to say, oh, well, I guess we'll try to come up with our own online training. And yeah, now it's certainly great, but the time to have done that is beforehand and get over that hubris. So I don't care what it is you're selling, there's got to be a way to go online. Michelle says, what do you feel created that increase? Was it easier for customers to access, better parking, better signage? That's quite a huge increase. Congrats. Oh, well, you're asking for Rochelle. She can give you that in the comments there. Last one. What's a penetration benchmark? Our number of customers entering versus number of sales and transactions. What should be the minimum? Well, that's interesting. I don't know that there is such a thing. I would love to believe that everybody who walked in the door is going to buy from you, but that's simply not going to happen. And an awful lot of retailers, when you ask them, what do you think your conversion rate is of lookers to buyers? Oh, 70, 80%. And then when you actually look at it from an analytics part, which is having a counting system, whether that is Shopper Track or some of the other ones, whether it's somebody you're hiring on a third, world country that's got a little camera that's counting people that's out there, comparing it to the number of people on your POS, whether it's sophisticated heat sensors, all of that stuff, you're going to find that it really is about 10%. And so whatever your benchmark is, what you start at is whatever it is right now. And by the way, conversions are total number of people coming into your store versus rings on the cash register, right? So you don't judge like, oh, it's a family of 5. There was only one person that could buy. It's like you don't get into value judgments. You don't say, oh, well, that was a couple. That could have only been one. No, each of them could have done it. You just take it as a base rate of the number of people that came in the store versus number that bought. And when you look at that, you see there's an awful lot of opportunity, which brings me to my last thing. I have a few copies of the Retail Doc's Guide to Growing Your Business. You can go to retaildoc.com, buy it. I think in the US, it's $26.10 with shipping. And internationally, it's a lot more than that. But I will sign it and autograph it for you. So instead of buying somebody's copy on some used site, you can get it from me as well. I think the thing that it all comes down to, and that brings me to the close of my video today, my live with you, is understanding that it's your 4 walls that matter. That I don't care what Amazon's doing. I don't care what your competitors are doing. I don't care. I don't care. At the end, it's what is the value you are adding to somebody buying from you. If it's just that you have no employees who are well trained and they can pick an order online and get it out the door, if you think that's going to make it for you, well, good luck, because as your tailwind has been going well, so have your competitors. And everyone, the smart ones, are saying, where do I need to go? And they realize they don't have a time problem. They aren't talking to their friends about how busy they are and poor you and, oh, it's awful to be you. They're saying, what's next? What's next? I'm rewatching The West Wing right now. And that was always the president's Bartlett's thing. What's next? What's next? That's the best attitude you can have. What's next? And to be thinking, where should I be going and how do I do it? As long as I realize that the target is always about creating an exceptional experience. And if you want help with that, you should certainly follow me on whatever social platforms you do, but particularly on retaildoc.com, and sign up for my newsletter. A new one goes out tonight with 9 fresh merchandising ideas that you can use right now. And by the way, if you're on Clubhouse, you should certainly check me out. That's a new social platform. And I'm not quite sure exactly how it all works yet, but I'm interested in the dialogue. It's basically just like what we would call a party line in the 60s. And if you don't remember what a party line is, think of Doris Day and Rock Hudson. What is it? Pillow talk. That was kind of the idea, that you're listening in on other people's conversations, but it's going to be an interesting thing to figure out. Say the name of the book again. Really, Patricia, I love this. It's called The Retail Doctor's Guide to Growing Your Business. There you go. Janice, your book is worth every penny. I reread it often. Oh, I love to hear that. But remember, the target is an exceptional experience. And from giving more to others, you're going to get back more than you gave. So with that in mind, I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. If you like what I had to say, feel free to share this with your friends. Feel free to click that bell so you'll know on Facebook next time I do it. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. If you're on LinkedIn, certainly check out my posts throughout the week. I'm trying some different things. I'll be interested to see what your comments are. And if you're on Clubhouse, certainly follow me there as well. I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. Remember, we are about as successful as we make our minds up to be. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks.